my wife and I had my mom move in with us. And she was living in one of the independent living facilities here, and really needed more attention than she was getting. What it taught me was that we really need better services. We need a different way of doing things. In the humanizing of elder care, you have the problems are around loneliness and boredom and lack of meaning. And all of those come from relationships. We've come up with the name Life Circle, meaning, you know, there's a fullness, there's a completeness in our relationships. And we certainly were born and we live and we die and we have so much to contribute. We fear what we don't understand and we don't know, and Life Circle is around supporting that and educating and providing comfort.
Right now in America, there are about 1.7 million people living in a nursing home. And any adult American who reaches the age of 65 has a 50% chance of spending significant time in a nursing home.
The test of our society today, especially as we're getting more and more people who are growing older, is going to be, how do we care for them? What kind of setting do we provide that they can live out their last years with some dignity and with some hope?
For more than 50 years, the care of many frail and elderly has been the mission of nursing homes, often in large institutional settings. Despite public dollars, many levels of oversight and regulation, the nursing home still feels and acts more like a hospital than home.
The driving force behind this plan is absolutely the hearth. It's where life happens in the home. Just as in your home, people gather in the kitchen around the dining table where those things of life happen, that happens in this greenhouse.
I've worked for years to improve a system that has bosses of bosses of bosses of bosses. And I've struggled to try to bring a sense of human warmth to those kinds of environments. And it's occurred to me that what I really need to do is to create an environment where the elder is the boss. Historically, the people who work the closest with the elders have had the lowest prestige in long-term care organizations. The greenhouse turns that idea upside down. We've created a new profession, something we call the midwife of elderhood. The Shabazz is a person who has a calling to work with elders. The Shabazz is trained to be a habilitator. And what that means is somebody who brings forth the abilities already existing in another person. A Shabazz is dedicated to protect, sustain, and nurture the elders.
It's all about the elders here. I had to go through Shabazz training, but I was kind of nervous because I was like, well, Lord, I just hope I do right, or I hope I don't mess up, or, you know, I want it to be perfect for them.
Shabazz stands proudly equal to the wonderful, skilled nurses who also contribute to the well-being of the elders in the greenhouse.
By the spring of 2003, the first 4 greenhouses were ready. Over a period of 6 weeks, 40 elders were moved, 10 at a time, from Cedars to their new homes.
I'm gonna miss you. I know what you're gonna miss me. Don't just wave at me. Come to see me. Bye, little lady. You're doing good. Who would ever think that an 89-year-old woman would be moving into her own palace?
My mother, Mildred Adams, is a resident in Cedars Nursing Home. She's had the opportunity to come here to the greenhouse.
To Charles Adams and his wife Becky, the move to a greenhouse is a wonderful opportunity that has perhaps come too late. Mildred Adams' physical and mental state has deteriorated to the point where she no longer feeds herself, seldom speaks, and seems oblivious to the world around her. Within an hour of the move, at her first meal in a greenhouse, Mildred stunned her son by taking the spoon away from him.
That's just what we're thinking is going to happen here.
Mildred continues to feed herself and is speaking more.
That's the difference in the greenhouse. People are coming there to live not to die. And we believe that anybody, regardless of frailty or mental capacity, still can continue to grow. And that's what the greenhouse does. It's an environment that enables that growth. Anybody walks in the door, it's one of those, yes, this is what it ought to be.
She's smiling.
They sit down at the family table. They talk about what happened during the day. And we want the Shabbazim to sit down and enjoy the meal with them.
I love to come to work every day. It's an experience to see people getting back, like I said, some of their dignity. Some of them wouldn't even eat. They come in the nursing home, they sit there at the table and fall asleep, and they wouldn't even eat their food. Here they're eating, they're talking, they're drinking, they're having dessert. It's just great.
I believe the greenhouse brings the community back in to the lives of the elders, and then they go back out, and the community is better.
The ones that were in wheelchairs are now out walking around. It amazes me. I love it. Their smile on their faces, the expression on their faces are totally different. Totally different.
How you like it?
I like it.
I knew you would.
It's just all the comforts of home.
We love you.
People who were in wheelchairs are walking again. People who weren't talking are talking again. People who weren't eating are eating real food again. People who were losing weight, and no matter how hard we tried in the nursing home, they're gaining weight again. People who, when you walk in the door, you see a twinkle in their eye again.
One of the misconceptions that I've heard from others in the field about greenhouses is that because of the size, that it cannot be financially viable. That they would just say, we like so much of the philosophy, but how can serving 10 elders in a small environment, how can that really work? Well, it does work, and it's been demonstrated, not only in our organization, but growing organizations around the country, that it can work. It can be financially viable, and clearly the quality of life, is just superb.
We want the greenhouse to be designed and to be efficient and economical enough that it can serve people who are being supported by Medicaid as well as people who pay privately. The way we do that is to work with organizations through a financial feasibility study to understand what are their local costs, what are their local revenues, what are the Medicaid payments, what are the private pay payments, and to help them blend that all together to come up with a very viable model that meets the organization's requirements and goals.
What we need today is a midwife for elderhood. We need people who can help our elders negotiate those passages of advanced old age and help them taste the goodness and the richness of it. Help them find the joy in everyday life.
To have my mother-in-law here is the next best thing to being at home. It almost looks like you're walking into a living room. I love coming here after work, and I usually lay on the bed and we just watch TV. And then sometimes the Shabazz are baking cookies, and then we go out and have coffee and warm cookies. The bedrooms are off to the sides, 10 private rooms with private baths.
I'm gonna make some more coffee then.
And there's always someone cooking. It's more of a very homey, warm setting.
You gonna have some coffee?
Yeah.
Okay. Why don't you slide right up in there?
Just imagine coming through that front door and you ring the doorbell much like you would if you were coming to visit me. And you're greeted by one of our elders and says, come on in our house.
Don't you think we make a good pair? 91 and 95. When I came over here, I wanted that chair along with me, because that's been with me all my life, really. It's just home, isn't it? Isn't it? Isn't it? It's home.
This is one time where you can say, life got better because we did this.
I get upset sometimes, but when I get upset, I get over it right away, and knowing that here I am safe. This is where I belong.
If somebody said to me, what's the biggest thing that's different about the greenhouse? I would say the biggest thing that's different is that in the greenhouse, love matters. you.